Give Me the Simple Life from Honor Thy Fathers, Laurence Hobgood Trio with John Patitucci on bass and Kendrick Scott on the drums and Laurence Hobgood on the piano. Laurence, welcome to WPFW.
Thank you, Rusty.
Well, Laurence, before we talk about your music, I just want to compliment you on the cover of this CD, Honor Thy Fathers.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I see three generations of, I guess, the Hobgood family on that picture.
Yes, it's true.
Yes. So how'd you choose that?
Well, I, rare act of intelligence for a man so young. When I was about 19, I realized how special that picture was to me, and so I had it professionally framed with museum quality glass, and of course kept a hold of it for all these years. And so when I decided that this was the thematic direction for this record, I knew I wanted to use that photo. And when they took it out of the frame to digitally photograph it for the cover, it was in perfect condition. So
that's you and your father and your grandfather, and not you holding a baby.
No, that's right. Yeah, that is. I am the baby.
Yes. Wow. Awesome. Okay. Wow. So appropriate. Well, I guess let's go back to the beginning. And how did you get started playing the jazz piano?
Well, I studied classically as a young person, and there was always an evident improvisatory bent, I guess you'd say. Used to drive my classical teachers crazy. They didn't appreciate my embellishments on Bach and Beethoven. Then when I was 15, my family moved to Illinois, and my father was concerned that I was not showing the interest in continuing serious piano study that he thought I should, and that was what made him think, maybe this kid just is not a classical musician. Maybe some jazz lessons would be the thing. And there was a young guy on the University of Illinois faculty at that time named Tony Caramia, who was a great jazz player. And the short version is I got lessons with him, and that got me into jazz while I was in high school in Urbana, Illinois.
Fantastic, yes. So I guess you're best known for all of the work you did with Kurt Elling over the years. But who were some of the other folks that you worked with coming up to get your start?
Well, for one thing, there were numerous great musicians in the Champaign-Urbana scene that I spent a lot of time in. John Garvey was the longtime director of the jazz bands there, and to this day, one of the great musical minds I've ever encountered, and learned an incredible amount playing in his band for 3 years, especially about ensemble thinking and musical phrasing and gesturality in phrasing. And then there were some amazing players that I got to interact with during that time. Ron DeWar, who's one of the greatest saxophonists I've ever heard, and Chicago guy. Ron was a big influence on me, and also my compositional mentor. And one of the tracks, I believe, that we're looking at, Triptych, is dedicated to him. Each track on the record is a dedication. He was a teacher of composition there at University of Illinois. More what people would think of as avant-garde, 20th century composition. But he had a huge influence on my playing and my thinking style as a piano player. And then I moved to Chicago in 1988 and started playing with people like Paul Wardico, who played drums with Pat Metheny for many years. The great saxophonist, Ed Peterson. I was actually in Ed's band when I met Kurt Elling. And, just Fareed Hawk, the guitar player, he was in the scene at that time. Brad Good, great trumpet player who now teaches at the University of Colorado. Just really a bunch of wonderful Chicago players who welcomed me, and not that long after that. I guess I met Kurt in 1993, so that was 5 years I was in Chicago, that I was trying to make a place for myself in the scene there. And many of them, especially Ed Peterson, influenced me compositionally quite a lot, and was just an astounding player. Still is.
So Kurt, really an incredible vocalist, did some very unique things over the years. And what is the difference between when you're accompanying somebody, you're working with a vocalist, doing all the work that entails, and then going out on your own to do solo and trio work and just be your own person?
Well, collaboration is something that apparently is just fits me like a glove. I've always been a big believer in the sort of the two heads are better than one, or three or four heads. Mm-hmm. It depends on how many people are involved. I think that the groupthink can bring a lot of strength to a situation, because no matter how many good ideas one individual might have, other people are going to have different ideas, and if you're able to have a healthy-minded situation, if you pool these ideas and take the best of them and develop those, you come up with things that no one person could come up with on their own. Mm-hmm. And to be candid, I don't necessarily feel that leaning in that direction means that someone is going to have shortcomings or non-negotiable challenges as a leader themselves. So in a lot of ways, there really isn't that much difference.
Mm-hmm. I have to remind folks that we're at WPFW 89.3 in Washington. Get that legal obligation out of the way, which leads us to, I guess, the next question, because on Monday night you're going to be not collaborating. You'll be solo as part of the solo jazz series, piano jazz series at the Arts Club. Mm-hmm. So, again, doing an evening of solo piano. How will you approach that?
Well, you're right. You could argue that solo piano would be about as non-collaborative as it gets. But solo piano is very different than ensemble piano. When you're playing with an ensemble, for one thing, you have a bass player filling in the bottom, and you also have, most often, a drummer. When you're playing solo piano, the absence of both of those means that you're going to need to both generate bass function and rhythm in a way that you aren't as responsible for when you're playing with a group. And on a certain level, that is a purely technical challenge. I was the fortunate beneficiary of strong classical training, and so that has given me the knowledge of how to practice and train, particularly the left hand and the relationship between the left and the right hand, the independence that is needed there to function as a solo pianist, which is very challenging. And so when I'm going to do solo piano work, I always get back into some classical playing, which I've been doing again lately. And in fact, I'm even going to be sort of delving into that a little bit on the show. I don't want to say more than that.
Okay, well, that's exciting. You know, and you're really going to like the Arts Club. It's really one of the best venues, and the piano's been really taken care of, and it's in top shape. The Arts Club of Washington is located at 2017 I Street Northwest, and for tickets you can visit the Piano Jazz website, pianojazz.com, and get information on the tickets for that. And I've noticed people are also able to pay at the door, 7:00. So, Laurence, so what's happening with you after you do your gig Monday night for Burnett Thompson?
Well, the very next night I'm playing with my trio at the Allentown Jazz Festival, and we just played last night at the Palladium in Tampa. So doing that, and then I've got some gigs out west in California. And then in May, I have a new collaboration. I guess it's not really that new to me anymore, but the record just came out with a really great singer from the UK named Barb Younger.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I wrote all the arrangements, and also I'm happy to say 3 originals on her CD titled Shelter from the Storm, and we're playing 2 consecutive weekends at Joe's Pub in L.A., and on Sunday, I believe it's May 15th, we're playing at Strathmore, which is down in that neck of the woods.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. So back in the area, and
yeah.
Good. It's great. It's a great hall out there. Strathmore has a great facility. They have the concert hall. They have the older facility, the mansion that a number of artists have played at, and now they're also running a club called AMP further over in the sort of a shopping center area that is also doing very well. So Strathmore will. I'll remember to bring your CD with me the Thursday before and get back into your music before then also.
Great.
I'll give you a mention. But again, the point of tonight is that you're doing Monday night. And that's
yes, indeed.
The Arts Club of Washington, 2017 I Street Northwest. And again, you can go to pianojazz.com for ticket information, or I'm sure they'll let you in if you show up and pay at the door. It's been a wonderful conversation, Laurence. I really appreciate it. I have Triptych queued up right now. So
great.
So we'll play that and then get into some more of your music later on. Thanks again for calling tonight, and I will see you Monday, and Burnett will take good care of you when you get to town, I'm sure.
Yes, he will. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Good. Well, thanks again as we listen to Triptych.
Thank you, Rusty.